everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am really glad to have you here, especially in my winter wonderland. As you can see, absolutely gorgeous. I love the way it's so serene and peaceful and beautiful, and definitely indicative of Christmas time. Yay! So I hope everybody's kicking off the Christmas season with love, because that's the most important thing. That's what this season is all about, right? It's about love. It's about caring. It's about being grateful, you know, for the people around you that love and care about you. You know, at least that's what I usually try to hold to. You know, a lot of people get lost in the commercialism of it, and sometimes they kind of get swept away in the ideas of, you know, having to spend money or, you know, get the biggest gift, get the best gift, something to that effect. But, I mean, I've never really had a lot of money in my life, and so I was always taught that it's always the thought that counts. You know, Greg would sit there and remember things like jewelry boxes that I would mention like earlier in the year, and it was the fact that he remembered something like that was pretty amazing, you know. So I try to hold to that with my family and friends around this season. Just let them know. I did tell, I made a necklace one time, because I do chainmail and things like that. I don't think I have any of it on, but I'll show you guys at some point. But I told my goddaughter when I made her the necklace that you know, handmade and homemade gifts are extra special because you know that they're thinking about you the entire time that they're making it. I mean, how loving is that? How comforting is that? Just that notion that they were thinking about you the entire time. You know, so I've always loved the homemade and crafty gifts and things like that. I mean, they just, to me, they're extra special, extra beautiful. And so, you know, maybe just kicking into the creative sense and just kind of doing things by hand, especially when you're kind of strapped for cash, you know, which I'm pretty sure all of us are these days. So, you know, sometimes just a card. I remember one year I didn't have any money. This was right after the time that my parents were arrested. But my grandma had been helping me so much. And so I wanted to get her something really, really special, but I didn't have any money. So I wrote her a poem. And I read that poem when the whole family was around. And it was a beautiful poem. It was the one, I think I shared it on this channel before. It's I Look to You. And it was just a magical experience, you know. And I made everybody cry. I was like, I didn't mean to make everybody cry, but, you know, it means it meant a lot, right? The next Christmas, I had a job at a place called Things Remembered, and it was a store that you could get things engraved or etched or something like that. And so the next Christmas, I got one of those, they called it a beveled glass trophy, and I etched the poem into it for her. And she had it up until the day she died, and now one of my cousins has it. So, you know, and that's the whole thing is, you know, the memories are the things that last forever. Trust me, I know That's, memories, legacy, those are things that will carry on no matter what. And so, especially during the season, I know I'm going to be taking some time to recollect some of the memories that I've, given to other people. And, I don't know, weather like this, it's perfect for that. Just kind of curl up and, just do a little bit of meditating, do a little bit of thinking, especially in this time where it feels like everything's just become so rushed and hurried, and, nobody has any time because they got to do this or that or this or that, or, go present shopping, gotta put up the decorations, gotta do, just try not to lose the fun of it. This season is about joy, peace on earth, goodwill towards men, and, just remember, don't meet people's energy, or try not to, please. There are a lot of people that let this season, they let the frustration build up inside, and it really gets to you, suppressing any emotion gets to you, as I've said before, but taking time for yourself and ground yourself in gratefulness, like Brene Brown says. It's one of the things I gotta do a lot, just remembering that, even though I've lost something, it's the memories that will always survive. And there's so many wonderful memories that I can choose from. Like I said, especially during this weather, curl up, do some deep thinking. I love your hat. But speaking of memories, as we all know, sometimes we have to take the good with the bad. As I may have a lot of really wonderful memories to choose from, of course, I've also got a lot of what they call flashbacks. And those are memories that you have essentially tried to suppress over the years. Yeah, I've got a lot of those. Go figure. Lately, I've been helping out, I call her my newest adopted daughter. She's such a sweetheart, and she's been through a pretty rough childhood herself. And I've been trying to help her out, just because, she gets frustrated rather easily, and I honestly see so much of myself in her, and I remember going through that time in my life when if I could have had a helping hand, maybe things would have turned out a little bit differently. But I was also at that point where I couldn't ask for help. I would keep myself from doing that because, I was strong, I was independent, and, things of that sort. A lot of it came down to pride. And so I've been volunteering to help her out as much as I possibly can because, I believe it takes a village to do anything these days. It takes a community, which is another reason why I'm so grateful for you guys being here. It does. It takes a good, strong support system to just survive these days. And so I've been trying to show her that she does have a community, that there are people out there who don't have an agenda, who don't, there are people out there that you can actually count on and you can trust. And I know for especially women who have gone through things similar to my background, and for anybody who's new, my parents were arrested for basically human trafficking me. And so that comes with a lot of damage. That does a lot of damage. And anybody who tells you differently has obviously never been there. And so, and even if they have, it's one of those, they have a tendency of inflicting, I want somebody to hurt as much as I do, basically, type of mindset. But there are people who come out of that on the other side. It takes a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie, and it still takes a lot of work. I mean, that was when I was 13 years old, and I'm going to be 43 next month, and I'm still working on it, as I was saying, the flashbacks, because I see so much of myself in her, doing a lot of these things have brought back a lot of flashbacks. And I was telling my friend the other day that I'm actually grateful for that, because it shows not only what I've healed from, but it also helps me figure out what I need to work on still as well. One of the things I used to tell my kids is I can't fix it if I don't know that it's broken, type of thing. And I've been kind of turning that back around on myself. And, when these flashbacks arrive, I found the best thing to do is don't try to push them away. See them, acknowledge them. They are there. It did happen, and be understanding with yourself. Say, you know what, I understand that this is going to hurt, to think of these things, to recall these memories. It is going to hurt. And so I need to take the time to allow myself to hurt, for one, and then allow myself to heal. And like I was saying before, especially with the hustle and bustle of this holiday season, healing, taking the time to heal is definitely a good thing. Now, the thing about flashbacks is that they are usually brought on by, they are usually triggered by memories. That's what it means to be triggered. It means that you've experienced something that has brought on a flashback of a memory, generally of a trauma, but I have been noticing lately that there are also triggers for good memories as well. However, when a bad memory is triggered, I read in the book The Body Keeps the Score that it can have an adverse reaction on your brain, meaning it will actually shut down parts of your brain. When you're triggered like that, especially in a negative way, it can essentially shut down the timekeeping piece of your brain, which is the piece that tells you, or that helps you tell the difference between a memory and reality. So when that part of your brain is shut down, there's a part of you that doesn't know that you're not back in that traumatic situation. So In those times, it's good to stop, take a couple of deep breaths, look around. There was a grounding technique that Taz, my late boyfriend, used to use, and that was 5 things that you can see. Name 4 things that you can hear. What was it? 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And you can put that in any order that you want to. It doesn't have to be specific. And essentially, it re-engages your brain and brings you back to the present moment. So it's very helpful, very useful. The thing is that that was something that Taz and I used to do a lot together. And so it's kind of funny that sometimes even the grounding can be triggering for me. But it does help in any case, just taking a deep breath and remembering that you're not in that traumatic situation is very helpful. And like I said, be understanding with yourself, which I know can be very difficult to do, especially for those who were raised by people from the silent generation that, if an emotion or something unpleasant comes up, it's ignore it or distract yourself from it or something like that. Unfortunately, that's not dealing with it, and that's suppressing it, and that's going to come back, probably when you're triggered again. So, stopping and understanding that you're hurt. You got hurt. And it's apparently the pain is still there. It goes a long way. And it's pretty much helped me survive. Especially lately. Especially, in times when you want to be numb, you don't want to feel pain and things like that. I know it really sucks. Trust me, I know. But sometimes you have to acknowledge that the pain is there. Acknowledge it, understand it, express it in a healthy manner, please. And it does help a lot. So, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to comment below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But I'm going to try and be back on here pretty soon. So I hope you guys have a good start to your holiday season and take things in stride. You got time, okay? Do something good for yourself as well. Remember, you deserve it.